We're back, baby! Welcome to another year of the PixelPlay Podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Kaylan, aka Catastrophe, joined as always by my co-hosts Adam at CS Radical and Chris at Jin and Chris. We are your weekly gaming podcast where we get together to talk about all the things going on in the video game world from the perspective of three avid gamers. If you like that and you want more, you can find us wherever you get your podcast by searching for PixelPlay Podcast or searching for us on the YouTube's PixelPlay Podcast. You know what, guys? I'm gone. I sign off for I sign off. I leave it to you guys, and it all falls apart until I come back. I'm just kidding, guys.
Look, I'm sorry. Mental health is a difficult thing to deal with, man.
Yeah, and I don't know how to use OBS, so
that's true.
Which is a great cover up for I went away with the bitches for two. I mean,
oh yeah, no, I played it.
We do have a running joke around here where it's like we don't know what to do if I'm down because no one else knows how to run OBS.
I hate to say it, you are the linchpin of this podcast. If you're out, we're done.
Yeah, but I'm like, guys, I'm done with this. They're like, well, it was a good run.
Yeah. You're kind of the cornerstone of this whole project.
I mean, it worked out anyway. Obviously, Kaylan, with you being a new father, congratulations again, by the way. And obviously, with me dealing with the stuff that I was dealing with over the last couple of months, like it made it good. Just be like, you know what? Let's just press pause as we used to do on some episodes. Let's just, take a break, come back in the new year, and we'll have plenty to talk about. And Lord knows we got plenty to talk about in this new year.
Yeah,
we'll probably be skirting we'll probably be slowly doling it out over the course of the next few weeks because, well, if we just did everything that we've done the last 2 months in one episode, we'll be here recording until like maybe 5 in the morning, and I'm sure your wife is not going to be happy about that.
I was going to say, you know how hard it was for me to get like an hour out so I could come and talk podcast? Yeah, so just put a pin on it just to circle back for housekeeping. I am still inconsistently going to be coming on the podcast. You guys will still be running the show. I will pop in when and if I can. But yeah, it's game of the year time for us. I think it's always a hit, like a thing where first episode of the year, we always kind of do a podcast about retroactively looking at the year past. And
it's our second annual PixelPlay Game Awards. Boo, boo, boo. Insert fireworks that I don't have because I don't know how to do animation.
We'll put that in post.
I'm not putting that in post. I don't know how.
All right, cool. Adam, I'm going to pass it off to you. I'm going to let you run the show this year. So, yeah, take it away.
Well, we have 2 new awards this year, one of which I don't understand how I didn't think to do normally, but hey, we'll get to there when we get there. Obviously, we have got our key awards that we did from last year. They're all returning. All the ones that we mentioned last year are coming back. And then we'll finish with our PixelPlay 3 of 2024, which is our top 3 games. Because let's be real, Game of the Year is stupid on its own, especially when, you play as many games as some of us do. So at least we like to give, a few honorable mentions to some of the other great games we had. So let's start with our lone negative award. And it's not necessarily like a full-on negative. It's just more of it's not like we're upset, we're disappointed, kind of award. All hype, no finish, which we give to the game that we honestly, we enjoyed playing and finishing, but compared to everything else that we did play this year, it's just the game that we're like, you really could have done a better job, though. You're missing something. It's just that game that you're like, I don't hate it, but you screwed it up. You done fucked up. And I'm going to start off with the game that I, all year in 2024, was bitching about, and that's Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Because holy shit, guys, you had the biggest chance to do something cool with a new retelling of the story, and you done fucked it up because you couldn't make the canon audience mad. And that's why that game honestly lost points for me, apart from just the open world. But the fact that they had no balls to do something different. And Chris, you know exactly what I'm talking about because I'm not going to spoil it. But they had a chance to do something interesting, and they just went confusing at best.
Oh my god, yes. Yeah, I might as well hop in because I have the exact same one for the same fucking reasons. Also, you shouldn't make your final boss 45 minutes long. What the hell was
Especially when you have story elements that the entire here is my entire last hour playing this game. Oh, yes, they're gonna wait, what? Huh? What's going on? Okay, boss battle. Okay, cool. Maybe we're gonna see something later. Okay, this is still going. But what's happening? Did the thing I want to happen? No? Wait, yes, wait, what? No. That was the last hour of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
It's so accurate. Kaylan, we're not kidding. Like, that's actually accurate.
You are not selling me on this game at all.
It's a JRPG. I can't sell you on it, okay?
I mean, I've played a Final Fantasy game, so
That's true.
Did
he is
you,
the
though?
JRPG king.
Did you? Because I don't think
I
16. You didn't play a turn-based Final Fantasy game. Fuck. Like, no, I don't care what anybody says. That's not Final Fantasy. I'm fighting that.
see, like I always felt like Final Fantasy VII would be the one that would kind of get me into it. Like, it seems the most sci-fi-esque, like, which is
Honestly,
my style.
I think you would enjoy the first remake. I honestly think you would. I think even somebody who doesn't play JRPGs would actually really enjoy that game because it's such a good job.
Oh,
yeah, but the thing is, like, I don't like the fact they're breaking up into like 3 games that are like 30 hours. I don't want to commit that much time. Like,
Yeah.
It's one of those things where I almost just wish that they did a remaster of the original game as it's done rather than 330 because I don't want to do 90 hours into this game.
Yeah.
Especially when you got the way you guys talk about Rebirth.
I mean, as someone who played the original, Chris, I'm sure you agree on this. Like, remake is one of the coolest things we've gotten from Square in a long time because it took something that we already love. I don't love nearly as much. I don't have nearly as fond a spot for the OG, but like, I finished remake and went, holy shit, Square, where has that been for the last 15 years?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was a 10 out of 10, and then Rebirth was a solid 6.5, 7. I'll give it a 7, but it's just like I had the hype that I had from the first game, and it just didn't live up for too many reasons.
But alas, Kaylan, what falls into your all hype no finish?
Well, I'm not a giant weeb, so it's not Final Fantasy VII. For me, it's Rise of the Ronin. I was excited for this game. I was like, hey, it's a Sony exclusive. I know it's not made by a first-party studio, but, you know, Sony exclusive. It's a samurai kind of ninja game, like right up my alley. We're coming off of Ghost of Tsushima. It's filling that void. This game kind of sucked. Like, I was kind of excited because the reviews I was hearing, it's like, oh man, it's like an Assassin's Creed style video game, and like, it's cool for a little while, but then it just drags on and on. And
I'm
I
not
have
surprised
no
by that
idea.
because the entire podcast time we saw you go from I love this game to and then to I don't like this game anymore.
I mean, I still finish it, but like, there didn't seem to be any consequence for the choice of whether you choose to go with. Like, I didn't even know what the hell was going on anymore. Like, I didn't know the plot. I couldn't figure out what the different factions were. It was a giant mess. And for it to be a Sony exclusive, I feel like this is the year that like the term Sony exclusive didn't mean as much as it used to. Because I think Forspoken came out this year too, right?
No, that was last year.
Last year? Okay.
I believe.
That could be
It definitely wasn't this
2021.
year.
I
That
don't
much
even
I know for sure.
Okay. I just like, for me, it was like I was excited to have another like Japanese samurai Ronin style game, and I had no idea what was going on with this game. So for me, Rise of the Ronin takes the award for all flash, no substance or whatever.
All right, well, enough of being mad about stuff. That is for a later episode. The Dark Horse Award, which is one of our new ones we're doing here, this is for the game that we played that was our biggest surprise. So a game that whether you went in with low expectations or one that you figured was going to be bad and it ended up being even a game that might have been you thought was going to be terrible and ended up being passable might qualify for this award depending on what you played this year. Now, I'll start with Chris, but I have a feeling we're both going to have matching answers on this one.
It's 100% Indiana Jones. And it's not that I thought, like, I was somebody, I'm always on the fence. We know that. That's my shtick. It's not even my shtick. It's my personality. But I went in where it's like, I'm hoping this is going to be good, but I have reservations, obviously, because it's Bethesda, it's Microsoft. There's just too many, it's a franchise game, too much stuff. And it surprised the hell out of me with just being one of my top games of the year. Like, they nailed it so perfectly. So perfectly.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
I'm fully agreeing with that. We've already recorded our side quest for this week, which is going to be me and Chris talking about Indiana Jones. That game should not have been released in December because that could have won awards this year. And which, by the way, shout out the Game Awards was a fantastic goddamn show, and seeing Harrison Ford out there was amazing.
Oh yeah.
So that was such a cool moment. But like the game itself. I genuinely cannot believe, as someone who has been really burnt out in open world games, that I actually fully enjoyed this open world. Minus like one of the last areas in Sukhothai, which is a little boring towards the end, but I think it's more just because of how like that area was a little too big for what it was doing. But like all things considered, like I was sad leaving the first major world in the Vatican. I love that world. It was really well put together. Giza, same deal, just for different reasons. But like that game nailed everything perfectly. It nailed the aesthetic of Indiana Jones perfectly. It nailed the vibes perfectly. It was fun to play. I spent way more time messing around with it and throwing random shit at people than actually participating. Because let's be real, sure, you could use a gun, but that's not as fun as literally whipping a guitar halfway across the map at something. It's like Hitman. Do you actually want to take somebody out with a silenced pistol, or do you want to whip a tray at them?
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you guys. Like, I'm gonna come out like I think we all were kind of like skeptical and doubtful last year during the podcast, saying like, "What the hell?" And I think that there's a major discussion to be had about how Microsoft marketed this game, and I think that holds a lot of fault. Like, this game is incredible, and it was very poorly and undermarketed by Microsoft for what they had. Like, this is probably one of the best Microsoft exclusives in generations.
Yes.
And they couldn't advertise it. Like, they release it, like, almost stealth launch it in December. Like, I don't understand
well,
why
that's why we all
wasn't
assumed it
more
was going to
hyper-
die, because like most games that get released that late in the year usually is an expectation of they're not going to do well, so we might as well put it in a place where no one's buying games.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they made a lot of poor choices, and like even in how they were showing this game. Like, I don't feel like this is a game that you could really show from a gameplay perspective, and I don't think you need to. I think the way that you should have sold this is as an Indiana Jones adventure. Sell it as the story, sell it as the movie. Like, not as a movie, but sell it as the Indiana Jones story, and it would have carried. Like, because I was saying to Jen when I was playing this game feels to me like an Indiana Jones movie. And I'd come up after playing video games and I'd be like, oh man, now we're in Giza and here's what's going on, and like here's the bad guy, and like I was explaining the movie to her, and I'm like, this game could easily be made into a movie. And it'd be fantastic.
Like it has all the staples of it. I mean, obviously Troy Baker does an incredible job voice acting. Like, there are points that you forget that it's him and not Harrison Ford, because he just does the mannerisms so well. But like, without spoiling it, Chris and I talked about it even when we were talking about the game during SideQuest. But like, the final boss battle is the most Indiana Jones possible like big fight scene ever. It nails all the absurdities perfectly. The only sad part is we didn't get, some faces melting off, but hey, we can't always get everything.
I learned karate.
Karate.
See, and people that haven't played the game are gonna be like, "What the heck does that mean?" If you play the game, you'll know.
Good.
Oh, you'll know.
Like, I was playing, because I streamed most of it in a Discord with some friends, and the second we got to that fight scene, people were laughing hysterically because it was so fucking funny.
Mm-hmm. So for me, I put Indiana Jones as like a runner-up. So for mine, I did like a runner-up and then the award. For me, I found that the Vatican was actually like the weakest part of that game. Like, I felt it was a really weak start to the game. Like, I was like, oh, is this it? Because like, it doesn't lend itself well. Like, it's not like, I found Giza was much more easy to understand of what the gameplay loop was, how to navigate, how to set up goals. Like, the Vatican just didn't correlate, and it might have been the verticality of that level, and that it's not as laid out as Egypt is, where it's like, hey, here's a temple, go explore, or just walk around this area. I didn't quite understand, and I was talking in the Discord of like, man, the Vatican is not like pulling me into this game. I was struggling through. Once I got to Giza, I was like, I'm in, and I loved every aspect of it. So for me, it was Vatican that put it as like.
Well, the beautiful thing is that, like, it seems like it's one of those games that, like, people are taking different things from it that they've really loved, because I actually did like the Vatican in the way that it's got so much more of a mystery of, like, finding how to get into certain places, whereas in Giza, for example, like, you pretty much can figure out, like, where everything is you need to get into, whereas the Vatican, it feels like, okay, how do I get through this door? And then how do I get through, like, there's so many extra rooms that you're, like, spending time, like, can I get in here, or is this, like, a story thing? Like, there was a lot more mystery to that one to me, and I think that's why I liked it more, because I spent more time, like, just randomly exploring. I also didn't get the book for that one until, like, the very end for all the collectibles, so I literally went in blind the entire time. I was just going around just being like, okay, how do I do this? How do I get in here?
Yeah. No, I think, like, but I, like, as much as we were, like, poo-pooing on it, like, I also felt like I had the back, like, I was eager to see what this looked like. I was excited for an Indiana Jones game, so that's why it like wasn't as much of a dark horse for me. And I don't know if you guys are cool with moving on to if you guys want to talk more about this or we want to.
Oh no, on. Like what was your actual winner?
So my actual winner, if you guys remember me talking about this earlier, was Flintlock.
Right.
Yeah, this game, like, for whatever reason, and I'm not saying that this is a perfect game, but I feel like the reviews that we got for it undermined it a little bit. Like, it was a fantastic game. I felt it was really cool. I liked the theme, the style, the general sort of atmosphere of the game. Story is fine, but like I had so much fun playing through it. It kind of had like like a PlayStation like first party studio kind of feel to it, with like the gameplay elements, like open level kind of thing. It wasn't completely open world, but open stage. The powers are really cool. I liked like the melee combat, but also with that flint like sort of like gunpowder like punk like feel. So I think that's an awesome one to check out. I really liked it. I thought it was really cool. I thought it's severely like underrated and overhyped, or sorry, underhyped. And like I had no idea what I was getting into when I got into that game, and it was just, man, it hit, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that.
Sense.
That completely makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on, we have the All Nighter Award, which goes to the game that, quite frankly, you just couldn't put down. And to me, no game describes that better. Actually, you know what? Let's change it up. Kaylan, you start off this time.
So once again, I've got two, a runner-up and a winner. For me, runner-up, Star Wars Outlaws. This game, it's just Star Wars, and I'm a sucker for Star Wars.
Nerd.
It captures the feel of Star Wars. It is not a perfect game. I wouldn't like. I think I told Chris and Adam, if you are not a Star Wars person, this is not going to win you over. This is a game
because
made for Star Wars
quit it after an hour.
Yeah. I like a stealth game. I like Splinter Cell. I like Assassin's Creed. Like, I like that stealth aspect. So it didn't deter me. And this game just oozed Star Wars. I love the characters. I love the world. I love the time period. Like, I really like the original trilogy sort of era, and the fact that that's where we're at here. For me, it was one I was just like, I want to live inside Star Wars. But, and I think we might all be agreed on this, for me, the all-nighter was Helldivers. If I was like, when Helldivers came out, like I bought PlayStation Plus so I could go online and play Helldivers. And if I wasn't playing Helldivers at the time, I was thinking about Helldivers, and I had so much fun playing with friends that I know. We did a couple streams. Like, we had times where we're like, guys, we need to podcast, and we're like, there's nothing to talk about. Do you guys just want to stream Helldivers for like an hour? And that's what we did. Like, it was just, it captured my attention for so long. I mean, I think there's a conversation to be had about where that game ended up in the support. And I'm not even talking about the stuff that Sony did, but just the decisions by Arrowhead to nerf the game, to like nerf the weapons, kind of like take away that power fantasy. And I don't know why they did it. I think it got a little repetitive with the missions after a while. But for a period of time, all I could think about was just going down and like spreading democracy. And it was a blast to do so. And yeah, I loved it. It was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, for a 4-month period, essentially, I could not stop playing it. Like, whether it was with our group, Chris, or sometimes we would do the podcast in it. I had other friend groups that I would play with consistently. Like, the amount of time that I put into that game between, like, February, I think did it come out in February or late January? I can't remember.
February.
But, like, from basically then till almost the summer. It's all I played, like, when it came to multiplayer stuff. And
I got into a role-playing, like, group. There was, like, I met these two other people, and, like, we role-played, like, soldiers on the battlefield. Like, we went full Starship Troopers and, like, talked in, like, military jargon and stuff like that.
Oh, I like it. I love that.
And the game is now in a better place again. Like, obviously, they've done a lot of improvements. Obviously, the Illuminate now being in has really changed things up a bit. So, like, the game is back to a really good state. Will it have the same vibes? Of course not. It's way past that point. It was going to eventually peter out anyway. It just came sooner for a much different reason than we all anticipated. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, there's no game that I can think of where I was in that one more. We can do one more mission kind of vibe where it's just like, I got to get one more. I'm just having way too much fun here. It brought me back to the old days of playing, like, you know, obviously I wasn't playing like co-op multiplayer games all that much, but like the days where playing games like, actually, well, Destiny 2 is kind of like that, but like even the old days of Xbox 360 playing Call of Duty, we were just like, one more deathmatch, just one more.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop like wanting to play just one more game because it was just in my head. And like the fact that all the memes were spreading for months and months, it was not just a game. It was literally a community for a good few months.
And the PR department was just so good about how they built that community outside of it. Like, I remember on TikTok, there were girlfriends who were explaining what Helldivers was to other girlfriends. Like, hey, if you want to talk to your boyfriend, your husband right now, like, ask him what's going on at Super Earth and stuff like that. And it was so cool how much this just took over everything.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
Chris, are we all unanimous on this one, or you got a different one?
I actually have, this was
and
difficult,
why is it Balatro?
It's Balatro. So this was tough because this was one of the hardest ones for me because I was going back and forth between Helldivers and Balatro. The only reason Balatro won is because I actually looked at the amount of time I put in, and Balatro did win. And the best way to describe it is I literally went to my brother-in-law and sister's cottage, and I was there for a weekend, and I lost a day to Balatro at that cottage. They all went to go swimming and out on the boat and stuff. I'm like, oh, I'm going to sit on the deck with a beer. I'll watch you guys from here. I'll play a little Balatro, get some sun in, and when you're back, we're all going to chill. We chilled with me just sitting in whatever group I don't even know what they're doing. I don't remember it because I played Balatro for 9 straight hours until my Steam Deck died. And I went, oh my God, I should re-enter the real world and stop playing this game. So yeah, Balatro won because of probably just that one day, to be honest. But yeah, it did just outbeat Helldivers. Like, just. Oh, too addicting.
Yeah. Next up, the Console and Chill Award, which is just the game that we played for vibes, just to kind of relax, take it easy, kick your feet up. Kaylan, probably harder for you having 2 kids now, but, you know, just the game that you just kind of unwind with. And for me, this year, that was TCG Card Shop Simulator, which was just the game where it's like, I don't want to do anything except chill in this ridiculous store that couldn't possibly exist because of the amount of money I actually make in a card shop selling store, and just open packs. And that's all I did. And I did that way longer than I probably should have, but I don't care.
I don't care. Oh, Kaylan, what was yours?
Yeah.
So my runner-up for this category is Balatro. I'm still playing Balatro. It is a perfect game that, like, with me having 2 kids, it's hard for me to kind of get down and get down to the basement, start up my PlayStation and play a game. Balatro, I play it through the PlayStation Remote Play on my phone. It's one of those ones I can play and pick up and kind of stop at any time. But, and I talked about this when we were in the podcast, I like the game. I like the concept. It is a little too RNG for me. Like, you have a great run and then just you get a wrong, like, you build this whole strategy and then like a blind will come and just kibosh the whole thing. And it's like, I don't have much time to kind of have a bad run come up at like the 7th like round, right? Like, like I say to Jen, I love this game and then I hate it. I'm like, oh, I'm doing good, and then
that sounds like a roguelike.
You hit a wall.
Yeah,
it is. But I like when I play and it's like, oh, hey, I'm getting better. And I find that I'm not losing because I'm making poor choices. I'm losing because of the RNG. And so for me, that's why Balatro was, like, I'm still going back to it. I have one more deck to beat on the base difficulty. And I think I'm done at that point. I don't think I'm going to keep going with it. But for me, the console and chill game that I was able to play the most, and it was a lot of fun to play, and I could play it with kids around, was a little game called Little Kitty Big City. I don't know if you guys played this game, but dude, what a fun chill game just to play. Like, I'm a little kitty going around in the big city. Like, it's awesome.
If you want something fun to do, go check out the speed run for that. It is insane.
I bet. Yeah. So like, it was fun. It's something I can have with like my son beside me. He's playing Lego. He's like, play the kitty game, and like we can do that. And it's just fun, relaxing, easy going. There's no fail state or anything like that. There's no stress. So yeah, Little Kitty Big City.
Good pick. That is a good pick. For me, mine I think is one that neither of you actually played. Because mine is the Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom.
Oh, I'm playing that right now.
Oh, yes. That to me was just so chill. Like, I also brought it with me on vacation when I was in California. So I played it like on the rooftop of my hotel overlooking Venice Beach. So that may have added to the chillness. But like, the game is just like, you can walk around, do whatever you need. You know what I mean? Like, it's not overly difficult. It's not like a normal Legend of Zelda where, you're bashing, A with the sword and all that kind of stuff. Like, there's huge parts when you're just exploring this map looking for stamps or whatever. I don't even know what the collectibles even are.
They're stamps,
They're stamps, yeah. So But it's like, all right, there's a stamp guy up on there. How am I going to get up there? I could make a staircase of beds. I could put a trampoline
It's
and then a
always
rock.
staircase of beds. It's always a staircase of beds.
I did a lot of staircase of beds. But yeah, you can just kind of like freely do whatever you need. It's like Tears of the Kingdom without really too much of a fear of like actually having to like fight something and it's going to kill you and that kind of stuff. There's obviously enemies in the game, but again, it's a top-down 2D or 2.5D or whatever you want to call it game and all that kind of stuff. So I just found it so chill that I could just load it up and like put on music or whatever and like zone out and just like enjoy this like more relaxed take on like Hyrule kind of idea. So that's the one that took it for me.
I feel like a mob boss when I play that game because like I feel like the mob boss who doesn't get his hands dirty, like I feel like the Penguin from Batman or something like that. Like I see an enemy and I just like snap a finger and I send all of my like moblins with boomerangs and just goes and smacks them. I'm like, I don't do any of this stuff. Like I don't get my hands dirty. I got people who do that for me.
Yeah, that's true. It is
Also,
very true.
what's with you and gaming on Vistas? Like I feel like you see a Vista, you're like, wow, it's breathtaking. Hold up the switch.
Yeah, no, that's me in a nutshell. Yeah, 100%. I see the nice view and then I sit.
Oh, I already gave mine. It was TCG Card Shop Simulator.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Next up, the Earworm Award, our second and other new award, which is going to be our favorite game in terms of its sound and music. Chris, I'll let you start with this one. I have a feeling we're probably going to be the same on this one.
I don't know. So this one's interesting. I did have to give a runner-up for this one because this was a pretty tough one. I gave the runner-up to Hellblade 2. Hellblade,
Yeah,
not Hellblade. Yeah, Hellblade. I'm like Helldiver, Hellblade. There's so many Hell games. Yeah, Senua's Sacrifice or whatever too. That game, it's not. This isn't like the vibes of the music were so chill and everything. It's just half of that game is sound and music because you have the headphones on and you're hearing the whispers of your own inner voices. You're hearing, a massive godlike creature stomping their hand down and then fire comes up every time, but also a drum is playing like a Viking drum and everything. It is just insane amounts of effort that went into the music and the sound and everything like that. And honestly, it's what I wanted to give the award to. Unfortunately, I'm a huge Indiana Jones fan and the entire soundtrack was just in my head, and like I've been listening to the Indiana Jones theme as I drive and stuff still in my car, and that entire game, it's just like an actual like orchestrated soundtrack. Like they really did put the effort in like they would in a movie. And I have to give it to that one just because Hellblade was amazing and it was like technologically and it's just so cool, but I didn't put the Hellblade music on in my car and leave it there for a month after. So I did end up going with Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I also went with Indiana Jones. Like, it literally sounds like they just took the score right out of an Indiana Jones movie and slapped it into this game. And the fact that it works so well, like it's not constantly being played. Like, there's a lot of moments of just quietness in that game where there is no music. And then like you get into a fight and it like perks up at the right time and then turns off. Like it doesn't have that aspect where oftentimes games like someone will see you and the music starts. It's like it's perfect that it's like once the fight starts, then the music starts, or like once you take out your wing and your whip and you swing it, like the music starts. Like it's not just this like the music that they play, but how they play it. Like it almost sounds like it's choreographed to what you're doing. That I don't think I've seen a lot of other games do it that well.
Yeah.
I just want to give a shout out. My runner-up for this was Helldivers because, dude, that music when you get dropped,
when you're coming down
into like
yeah,
oh, so good. Like it doesn't have a great like it doesn't. I can't remember any of the other music that if they even had any other music, but that drop in music was just so good.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna quickly get mine out. It was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, just because. It's Nobuo Uematsu. You can't really go wrong with his stuff. It's just it's par for the course. It's like when they won the best score music at the Game Awards. I'm like, yep, that is the literal easiest checkbox you can make.
Yeah, it was a good soundtrack. Even remixing some of the old songs and everything, that life stream or whatever song that would play when you found a piece of the life stream in the world map. I actually just have a video clip on my PS5 of just 30 seconds of standing there with that music because I just wanted to listen to it and they didn't have it uploaded anywhere yet. So I made my own. That was good.
Mm-hmm. All right, next up is going to be the It's All Fun and Games Award, which is going to go to the game that was just, quite frankly, the most fun game to play. Straight up, just game that, like its gameplay core mechanics, just everything fit really, really well. I'm going to start off just because I'm going to quickly walk to the washroom once I'm done here. I was very close to giving it to Astrobot, and because I figured it might have gotten some other picks, I wanted to shout out another game that was basically very similar to it. And I just was really surprised by how well that played. And that was the game that I talked about. I can't remember specifically when, but it's called Bakaru, which is essentially like similar to like your kind of like 3D Mario games in the way that it built its stuff. That game was another one that like I walked into being like, this seems kind of cute. I'll see how this goes. And then by the end of it, I'm like, wow, this is like everything I love about Mario platformers. It's perfect. And then Astrobot came out and was like, yeah, this is more of the same. I like it. But Bakaru is one of those where it just has like the extra vibes to it with the like feudal Japan sort of whimsical cartoonish nature of it, and really just added a bunch of stuff. And obviously just getting to beat the crap out of people with taiko drumsticks is also extra fun. It's like Taiko Drum Master, but a platforming game. So you know what? That's still pretty cool to me. But yeah, I'm just going to step out for a sec, guys, and you guys can finish up there.
Yeah.
Kaylan, no, let's not talk about Game Wars. Let's just talk shit about Adam while he's gone.
Yeah, I can't believe. Look at him walk. Wow.
Look at me. I got a
what
small
a dumb
bladder.
walk.
I can't hold it in. I'm a giant weed. Go for the fancy.
The things he could do to this video through editing after now.
He doesn't watch this episode. I'll tell you what. Don't tell him this, Adam. If you message me on Wednesday that after this episode goes live that you listened to this and heard this, I'll give you $5.
I will also give you $5.
You can't.
There we go.
Like nobody tell him. Don't put it in the chat or anything like
Nope.
that. But if he doesn't get back to, if he gets to us on Thursday, too late. But Adam, if you're listening right now, you get $5 if you're listening to this right now. Message us before Wednesday at let's say Wednesday at midnight.
Yeah. Oh, that's
or
so
like
good.
Thursday. Thursday at 12:01 a.m. Challenge is on. He's not listening to this. All right. Cool. All right. So while he's gone, I'll talk. So fun and games. I also I had Astrobot as a runner-up. I really liked it. Nothing absolutely wrong with it, but it was a weird sort of combination where I found some of the levels were really good, but often sometimes too easy, and then there was some man, getting the platinum. I beat that one last level, the one you need 300 characters. Dude, took me it's so funny because the first time it took me probably 45 minutes of doing it, and then I was at a friend's house and they're like, "Oh yeah, I need this one to platinum it." And I'm like, "I'll give it a shot." I did it in 10 minutes. It's once I did it once, it was man, I know exactly what to do. But yeah, I liked it. I kind of wish that I was talking with someone and I wish they leaned more into the PlayStation homage. The levels were cool, but I almost how you get those bonus levels where it's hey, here's a God of War themed one. Here's a Horizon one. I would have liked if they had leaned more into that, where it's hey, here's a God of even if they did it generationally, where it's hey, there's 4 or 5 worlds. You've got your PlayStation 1 area, PlayStation 2, your PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and each one kind of did an homage to the greatest ones there. I'd love to see a Sly Cooper themed one. That would have been a cool level to do, right? So I feel I don't want to a measure game on what it is or isn't, but I felt the thing that people loved about that game is the homage and the platforming, and it does the platforming well and does the homage, but I just wanted there to be a little bit more. And then, but for me, it's Helldivers. Helldivers was the most fun I had playing video games this year. So,
yeah,
this is because you were talking about Astrobot. Playing it with my girlfriend, she lost her fucking mind when the Loco Roco level came up.
Oh yeah,
right.
That was a good level. Oh, I love that. Yeah, you guys are basically throwing in exactly what my issue is, because I am torn between Astrobot and Helldivers. It's tough because Helldivers to me was the best co-op experience, just community gaming with friends. The thing is with Helldivers, I never went into it alone. When it wasn't playing with either of you or other friends, I didn't go in there, and it's just because to me it was just such a co-op with your friends thing. So I think for this one I might actually give it to Astrobot, only because for me when I loaded up that game, I remember it was actually my birthday, I think, where I loaded it up for the first time just to give it a try. And like, I just wanted to keep playing. I was like, cancel plans. No one's coming over. Screw this. I want to do this. It was just such a fun game. Of course, there's things I would love to change, and I wish there was more of this level or less of that or whatever. I was ready to just uninstall the game with some of those challenge levels for getting those freaking like square or triangle. I don't know. There was one where everything was lava and you had to get a duck or whatever to put water
That's
on the
the
lava
worst
and
one.
get
That power up is so inconsistent.
Holy hell! I wanted to just wanted to murder somebody. But the game
I
itself,
hate the balloon one. The balloon one sucks.
The balloon. Oh, the balloon power. Yeah. Going up.
It's more just boring. It's just Kirby.
Yeah. And honestly, I think I would have given this to Helldivers if it wasn't for that winter level that they just released on Astrobot right at the end of the year, which brought me right back in. And I was playing that, and just the smile on my face that I could feel as I was playing through, it just oozes charm. Like, it's just a fun game. It's not overly complicated. It's something that's great for adults, especially fans of PlayStation. It's great for kids to see. It's just like, honestly, it's like the PlayStation mascot at this point. They just got to lean into it and make Astrobot the actual mascot because, I don't know, it makes me feel like a gamer. Like, it makes me feel like it's like 1998. I've loaded up my N64 and I'm just playing a game kind of idea, right? So that's why I'm going to give it to Astrobot, but Helldivers 2 is like right up there. If it was like co-op, boom, it just takes. Like, if it was, like Helldivers was easily right up there too.
I feel like you missed an opportunity though, not jumping into Helldivers with randos, because I actually really enjoyed that, and I felt like the community was really good. That, I mean, not perfect, but I found a lot of times that like I was joining groups and like was making friends every time I was playing online with people, and everyone was really receptive to connecting and adding each other as friends and playing and stuff like that.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I thought it was a great community. I would have some randoms. Usually it's like I'd play with like, two friends and then two randoms would show up or whatever it was. But yeah, I honestly, I think it's more just the backlog is what kept me out of going in there all the time. Because it's like, I'm not playing Helldivers 2 right now with friends. I should probably grab my Steam Deck and tackle one of those 300 other games.
That's it?
Maybe. It's 350, but I'm not kidding. It's like 352 or something. I have a list.
All right, next up, playing it for the plot. Game with the best story you played all year. Chris, what you got?
Oh, this one, this is so hard. Because, okay, it's tied, and I'm actually going to give it to one that you're probably not expecting. When it comes to the story, Indiana Jones is my runner-up. I was debating giving it the number one. It's hard because I've already given so much stuff to Indiana Jones, so maybe that's why I pushed it down to runner-up. The story in that is obviously an Indiana Jones movie. I even remember telling my wife when she was like, "How's your Indiana Jones video game?" I said, "It's the best Indiana Jones movie I've seen since the 80s." And she was like, "Oh, wow, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. In a weird way, it makes sense." So I want to give it to that. But I'm actually going to give it to Aiden Chronicles 100 Heroes or whatever the hell that name is. I probably finally got it. And it's not like that's an amazing story by any means. It's a JRPG story, but it was just such a well done JRPG story.
It hits all the key points that a good JRPG does.
Exactly. Like, it knew exactly when to be like a little corny, when to be, lean into certain tropes, but then also just like, oh, actually, this is happening and you don't know why, and you'll have to keep playing to find out kind of thing. And even the side stuff, like a lot of the side stuff that wasn't necessary, but like just finding other characters and all this other stuff, it was enjoyable. I actually wanted to collect all 120 freaking characters in this game because the actual stories of 96% of them was enjoyable and like cool to find out about and stuff. So I just actually really enjoyed the way that was presented as a story.
Kaylan?
For me, I'm going to give the runner-up to Star Wars Outlaws. Once again, that game oozes Star Wars, and I like the fact it's not about like Jedis and all that crap. It's a hype. it's Ocean's 11 in Star Wars. And for me, the thing I realized with Star Wars is like Star Wars is best when it takes other genres, other tropes, other movies, and just makes it Star Wars, right? And like you've got like all the homage like Star Wars does to other movies, and this does it with Ocean's 11. You're getting a crew together to do a heist. You're not good guys. You're not bad. Like you're not good guys trying to stop the Empire. You're just a scoundrel who's just looking to hit it big, and I thought that was awesome. It felt like a Star Wars movie. I was just wanting to watch it and get engrossed and do it more. But for me, it's Indiana Jones. Like I said at the beginning of this episode, it's an Indiana Jones movie. This is my favorite. This is in the top 3. I think this is the 3rd best Indiana Jones story. After only Raiders and Last Crusade, this is now the 3rd best Indiana Jones story. Like I said, I was going upstairs and I was telling Jen at the end of the night, like, what's happening in this. So, like, it's fantastic. It's a great story. So, Indiana Jones gets it for playing football.
Okay, and I'm going to go with the little indie gem that very few people have probably still played yet, but Until Then, which my logic is if a game can make me cry, you've already won. Because I'm a cold-hearted bastard, I'm not going to lie. So when a game actually gets me to cry, that's when I know that something's hit a chord. And a game that deals with tragedy and loss and depression so well and really ramps up the stakes towards the end, like I cried 2 separate times playing this game. And it's one of those experiences that I don't play very often because I don't generally like feeling those kind of emotions, because if I wanted to feel depressed and sad, I would just live. So, but
just live.
but a game that excuse me, choking on my own spit now. But a game that handles it so well and the writing is just fantastic. It's just a game that, I wish that I could erase my memory and go back and play now. And because I don't think I could go back because the emotions won't be the same anymore. But that is a game that, again, I'll say it again, if people haven't played, take a look at it because it's such a gem. Next up, Eye Candy, which is basically for the game that we just like the best. Like, it doesn't have to necessarily be like the best graphics, but so much the design that you like the most. Kaylan, I'll let you start with this one.
This is a hard one. It's like, it's a runner for 2. I'll give it to 2. I think 1 is like Indiana Jones. Like they captured the look of Harrison Ford. It looks great. Like the rendering, like when you're holding like a torch in a tomb, like it just looks amazing. The second one is Space Marine 2, Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2. It like just looks so cool, and like they went from like a game in the early 2000s that was just brown on brown shooter to like cool, colorful, like just it's an easy layup because it's the aesthetic of Warhammer, which is always just over the top and cool. But they nail it, and then like it's a colorful thing. Like I remember playing one level, and like you're in like this nebula area, and the sky's like blue and purple. Like it is more colorful than it should be, so it's cool from that perspective. So it's a tie between 2.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Metaphor Refantasio. I mean, you just take a look at just some of the screenshots from that game, especially the boss designs. It's literally like if you took like those really weird abstract paintings and just put it on screen. Like the art design that they chose for that game is just simply phenomenal and one of the most unique styles that I've ever seen. Because like I said, it literally just looks like abstract art being used for your enemy and boss designs. It's just insane what they did with that game. And, I can't think of any game that looks even remotely close like that. Like the Persona games have some pretty unique enemy designs, but they're more versed in like religious architecture and stuff, whereas this one is just pure artistic landscaping, and it's just incredible. And also this sort of like fantasy punk universe where it's like medieval mixed with like airships and stuff. Like it's such a cool aesthetic that I don't know if they plan on ever making a sequel, but goddamn would I love to, just to see what other wacky shit they come up with.
It is a very pretty looking game. I do like the look of that one.
And I didn't play it.
And that's why you're not the JRPG king anymore.
No, he owns it. It's just debated. He's waiting. He's going to play it on his Portal. Yes, Portal.
Sure he is.
Yeah, I'm going to go completely away from both of you because when it comes to graphics, there was one game that blew me away more than any other game last year, and that was Hellblade 2 graphically. The game is like all rendered in engine. It's not cutscenes, but you don't know that because it looks so real. It is terrifying. I remember near the beginning of the game, all this stuff is happening, and then Senua is like climbing up some rocks and everything, and she got to this point. I'm watching the opening cutscene or whatever, and she's just kind of like laying there, and I'm like, is my game broken? Like what the like the cutscene froze. And then I pick up the controller and no, it's not a cutscene this whole time. It's been rendered in engine and I'm actually supposed to start moving her. And I was like, holy crap, like it zoomed in on her eye and then like zoomed out and then showed her climbing and all this other stuff. Like it did crazy stuff in that engine. And it was actually because I think Digital Foundry found this. Even when you're in any cutscene, you can pause and there's a photo mode option. Most people thought like, oh, cool, you can pause the cutscene and take a picture of it. In any cutscene, when you go in that photo mode, you can actually move the camera. And the entire cutscene is a 360 movable camera, even though you'd never know that without going into the photo mode and doing it. And there are scenes where it's just two characters talking and it's completely black all around them because it's more just to be about like them having conversation in their head or whatever between the two of them. But even that, you pause and you can move around all the characters and everything and zoom in on them. Like it's all in engine and it just looked photorealistic and blew my mind more than anything. So I've got to give the graphics to Hellblade 2. I have to.
I think like you make a really good point. Like I didn't play a lot of Hellblade because I couldn't get into the gameplay aspect of it, and maybe it's something I need to go back to. But I remember when I was playing it, like being blown away about the photorealism of like even just the environment. Like I remember walking through it, like this feels, it looks like it's, you know, real. So
yeah.
All right, our second last award, the Coffee Date Award, which is essentially the character that you enjoyed the most of your time with. Whether you want to just go out for a coffee with them and just kind of talk through your life, go to the bar, have a pint with them, whatever it may be. Chris, whoever you want to take up for a Guinness, I suppose. But I'm going to start off. I'm going to go with another metaphor listing here. The character Katarina, which a lot of people will know as the pink-haired bunny girl. And no, it's not a fetish thing that I'm going after here. Straight up, I just love her voice acting. Like, Chris, I looked it up because we were talking about the kind of accent. It's the Cockney accent.
Cockney, yes.
So it's like this very over-the-top, like working-class British accent. And like, for anybody who has ever watched Team 4 Stars Abridged series for like a couple of different anime shows, they did a Hellsing Abridged series. She sounds so much like the voice acting that was done for Saris Victoria, the blonde bombshell in that anime. Just the over-the-top British accent who feels like, if you say one cross word to you, she's just going to suddenly punch you right in the nose. But it's just such an endearing like attitude that she has. It's just that kind of character that I'm like, man, that's the kind of person I don't drink, but man, I would love to share a beer with. It just sounds like she'd have some of the funniest random ass stories ever because she's like a mercenary too. So she's got, she's done some cool shit.
Yeah.
Kaylan, what you got?
For me, it was ND5 from Star Wars Outlaws. That robot was just so cool, like deadpan, hilarious, very much like a K2SO from Rogue One kind of feel, where it's just that robotic delivery of like not quite understanding human subtlety. It was just really funny. Like they're like, oh, like I just remember him like making quips and like actually laughing out loud. Like, yeah, I really like that robot, and I'd like to have him as a sidekick.
Now, if you had the choice, because I obviously didn't play that far in to get him, would you consider him? Because I don't know. Did you play Knights of the Old Republic?
I did.
Would you put him above HK? I think it's HK48.
Yeah, because HK was it HK48.
It's something like, I know it's HK. I just can't remember the full code.
Yeah, HK. Yeah, so like he was like a jerk for the sake of like being a jerk kind of thing. I get what they were going with the theme. This one, like, the robot's indifferent to you. So he's working
47.
for...
I was almost there.
Sorry?
47.
Yeah. So, like, ND5 is just kind of indifferent. Like, he is programmed... Like, not giving any spoilers. But he's, like, programmed to be a robot for one of the characters that you work with. Like the big guy who's kind of planning this heist. And he just has like an indifference. Like he doesn't care if you live or die. Just very dismissive. Like he's not a dick for the sake of being a dick. Just kind of like, whatever. If you die, that's fine. We'll find somebody else. Whereas HK47 I found was like still hilarious, but I felt like he had more of a like a 2000s kind of dick kind of personality, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think that's pretty spot on.
Did you end up playing Star Wars Outlaws, Chris?
I'm at the second world.
Okay.
Like when you start to recruit people, I'm on recruiting my first person.
Okay. So you've already then recruited. You already have ND5 on your ship and everything.
Yes.
Like
yes.
Yeah. So you could probably attest to like some of his like statements and quips and stuff, like how he just delivers it very deadpan kind of.
Oh, it started immediately. As soon as I met him, I was like, oh yeah, this robot don't give a shit if I live or die. He is indifferent. That's the best way of putting it. He's just like, yeah, I don't, okay, here, this thing.
And it's so cool. He wears a trench coat for no other reason, just then why not?
Yeah. Somebody put that on him and they were like, listen, you're going to blend in or something. I have no idea. And he was like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, so what, is he like 3 little robots in a trench coat?
No, because he wears it open, so it's just one robot.
Oh yeah, it's wide open.
All right, Chris, who's getting the Guinness?
Yeah, I'm gonna be selfish here. I'm also gonna throw Final Fantasy VII finally a bone. Tifa, like I'm just gonna go out with the hot girl from Final Fantasy VII because I have the opportunity to for this award.
How dare you, sir?
So yeah, me and Tifa are gonna go for a Guinness, and she's gonna probably kick my ass, but it's.
And
great.
I'm sure so many people are like, "That's wrong. You should be going after." I mean, Aerith was still pretty cool, but let's be real, Tifa's Tifa.
No, I've always been a Tifa fan over Aerith.
That's and then finally, the last award before the PixelPlay 3, the Jin and Chris Classic, awarded specifically because of Chris's massive backlog for the game that was not released in 2024 that you finally cleared out of your backlog. And since it is in your name, no one should be starting this award more than you, Chris.
So the number's astronomical because I beat 82 games this year, and like you know how many came out in 2024, and it's so many games out of the backlog. But unfortunately, I also buy too many games, as we know, so it kind of balances out a little too much.
Yeah, the real question is just, was it a game that was even released the year prior? Or is this like some 6-year-old game that you just hadn't gotten to?
Actually, my runner-up is old as hell because it was New Vegas. I'd never actually fully played it before, so that one is not even close to new, but I played it because of the Fallout TV show. But that ended up only being my runner-up because my true like main game I played, which is only a year old, I think it's 2023 that it came out, was Dave the Diver.
Oh yeah,
just simple, chill, awesome. Like it's such an interesting gameplay loop, but it is amazing and addicting because it's like go into the ocean, get some fish, and then at night run a sushi restaurant, and then wake up and go back in the ocean. Oh wait, there's actually a real story happening. Now you have to go find, this town underwater and all this stuff. So there's a story, but also don't forget to fish, and also don't forget to run your sushi restaurant. Oh wait, now you're opening a small rice field so you can grow your own rice for the restaurant. Don't forget, before you go fishing or scuba diving for fish, don't go water your rice and all that. Make sure there's enough water. Like, it's this weird Stardew Valley meets, I don't know, underwater simulator mixed with a cooking restaurant simulator mixed with, like, I don't know, a JRPG story underwater. Like, there's so many things happening, but all of it is delightful and amazing. I loved it. And I actually had to force myself to stop playing once I kind of got the ending, I guess, of the game. Because I would have just been stuck in that loop of like, what new fish can I find? What kind of level? How much money can I make at the restaurant? Who can I, give more money to as an employee and get them to be even better at serving sushi? Like, such a weird gameplay loop, but I absolutely fell in love with that game. So I had to give it to Dave the Diver.
Can I share a funny story about Fallout New Vegas, just because you brought it up? I don't know if I've ever talked about it on this podcast before, but I love the Fallout series, especially like since Fallout 3. And I got like the collector's edition New Vegas. I was eating it up, and I was like 300 hours into this like save file. I was pretty much like at the end. I had gotten a New Vegas. I was basically at the point where I could choose which faction, and my PlayStation 3 died. I got that yellow light of death or whatever, and so I sent it in to get it fixed. my hard drive came back completely wiped, and this is before I think you could back up your save files to like the cloud, or I just didn't do it because I wasn't paying for PlayStation Plus, and I lost all couple hundred hours of Fallout New Vegas, and I'm like, nope, I can't do this again. And so I've actually never beaten Fallout New Vegas ever, and I'm not going to. I just can't go and I can't.
Oh, you got so much time now, right?
Oh, right.
Like, it's true.
Yeah.
Hey, if you ever do though, the place you want to play that game right now, like especially like on console, PC would be great, but the Xbox version is insane because all the other versions of the game have got no updates. But for some reason, the Xbox version got like an Xbox One update to go up to 4K. And then with Xbox Series S, they have that 60 FPS boost that they could just add to any game they really wanted, where they just double the speed of the game, but it comes out as a perfect 60 frames per second and all that kind of stuff. So the New Vegas version of Fallout on Xbox, on Game Pass too, is 4K 60 frames per second, which if you load that up on any other system like PS4 or something, like you'll get like a 720p 30 frames per second game. Like it's blurry and it's slow, and the Xbox One is like flawless. If I wasn't playing it on my Steam Deck because of just having Fallout on the go on the couch, and when I say on the go I mean on the couch, Xbox is easily the best place to go and actually replay that.
Yeah, I might have to go play it.
But anyways, what was your pick for the Gin and Chris Classic this year, Kaylan?
See, I don't have a lot of time to game. I don't have a lot of time to go back and have backlogs. You guys are living in the past. I play games as they come out, when they come out, because I am in a position right now. It's a weird one to be where I've got more time or more money than time. So I just buy new games and just play those, and I don't look back. So I'm gonna have to do a cop out, and my Gin and Chris Classic Award goes to Mario Wonder. Because I got that for Christmas last year and I didn't boot it up until basically the first week of January. I think I may have technically started it in December, but yeah, I was looking at it and I was going through like my PlayStation in review. I was going through like Xbox year in review, and like it's all stuff from 2024, which is not me trying to flex or dunk or anything. It's just like I don't have a lot of time that like the way that I could play games and finish games. It's like very much, by the time I finish one game, the next new thing is already out. So I don't have a lot. Like I never really tackled, and I don't really have much of a backlog in that sense. Like I'm usually just one game or two games ahead. So
that must be so freeing. I have 3 unplayed game on my Switch alone, not including any of the other systems. God.
Yeah.
To live in your world, I want to live there.
My pick is going to be a game that I honestly finished like right at the beginning of the year, and I think I might already have my Gin and Chris Classic for next year, because I finished a game in the last couple of days that pretty much will qualify at this point too. But American Arcadia is my winner of the Gin and Chris Classic. I said from the very beginning when I played it at the beginning of the year that this was probably going to be the winner, and nothing came close. That game just did. It was such a cool concept. It was like the Truman Show, the video game. It was such a neat idea and had a really good set of platforming. The story just kept getting more and more intriguing. It actually has a satisfying end, which few games seem to do these days. Like just everything hit. It was intriguing, it was fun to play, and it didn't take too much of your time away and made sure that it ended with a high note. So that's a game that I can't say enough good things about. If you have not played American Arcadia, because it is more of a smaller indie game, you absolutely need to. It is a great game to play. But that leaves us with the PixelPlay 3 2024. And we're going to start with Kaylan. We're going to keep the flow going, so just go from 3, 2 to 1, and we'll go to each person after that.
So for my top 3, number 3, I've not mentioned it yet, but Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. I'm not a huge fan of like the lack of combat. Like I wish it was a little bit more hacky and slashy and stuff, but this is scratching a Link to the Past like itch, and they don't make Legend of Zeldas like this anymore, and I kind of miss it. Like A Link to the Past is one of my favorite games of all time. I think that's actually in essence like the perfect game. And so to kind of go back to it, it's not quite where I want it to be, but it's close enough that I am enjoying it. Number 2, Helldivers. Like I said, I am not a multiplayer gamer. I got PlayStation Plus solely for Helldivers and played it for that. Loved it. Had so much fun with it. And just a unique idea to play. Like the stratagems and just causing the chaos, like dropping 500 kilogram bombs wherever Adam is was just so much fun. And then lastly, Indiana Indiana Jones, like I said, it captures that sweet element of like fun gameplay, amazing story, amazing graphics. Like it is a Indiana Jones movie, a game. So for me, those are my top three.
So I'm gonna go next. My third is the Holy Gosh Darn, a game I did not mention yet. As what I can only describe as a really funny Rick and Morty plus Monty Python meets a point and click adventure. No game made me laugh out loud to the same extent that this game did, and I think it's such a creative game that got put out there, and I think people should play that. Number 2, Metaphor ReFantazio. I really wanted to put Aiden Chronicle in there, but like, man, I was nervous about Metaphor because I thought that moving away from Persona might have been a little bit weird for Atlas, and it turns out I was way off the mark. That game was just an incredible game front to back. And number 1's going to be that indie gem that I said, well, look, if a game makes me cry, Until Then is just going to hit that mark. It's just a game that I'm going to take with me for the rest of my life. It's just one of those things that you can't forget. It's just such a emotional experience, so I have to give that the edge to everything else.
Nice. Yeah, so I was having a real hard time with this because I have 4 games that are like in my game of the year. I usually don't pick like one game like, oh, that's my best. It's kind of like I have a group. So to kick one out was really, really hard. And the one I kicked out was Helldivers, which was like really difficult because I have some of the best gaming memories I think I've made this year, like playing that game with like you guys and other friends and everything like that. But I think when it just comes to these other games, it was even harder to kick them out of the top 3. So number 3 is Balatro. It's like I have to give it to it because like I would say, so Kaylan, you said something funny where you're like, I'm going to finish the last deck, beat it on the basic difficulty, and then I'm done. 25 or 30 hours into the game, that's what I said. And now I'm at like 105 hours because it's like, oh, well, there's this one achievement. Maybe I'll just work on getting that one achievement. I kept going to the point that I've unlocked the entire collection. I've got every Joker, every voucher, every card that you can possibly get in the game. I unlocked 100% of the collection because I couldn't stop, and I just set a new goalpost for myself. I finally have been like, I need to like literally not go into this game because every time I do, I lose like 30 hours of gaming. But yeah, I played so much of it and loved so much of it that my wife knows about it in great detail, like in way more than she knows about any other game. So that definitely had to be in there. So that's my number 3. My number 2 is Indiana Jones because that was like, I'm a big franchise like IP guy for certain things. Kaylan, you and I align on this a lot. Star Wars, Indiana Jones. Like if I had finished Outlaws, it probably would have shown up on here a lot more. But again, I'm only just in the second world because I waited to pick it up. But Indiana Jones, it's on Game Pass. You get it right away. I couldn't stop playing. I loved it. I am a huge indie guy, and it's been a long time since I've felt that satisfied with an indie anything. There's been parts and stuff, but like that hit from beginning to end, like it would have if I had gone to see The Last Crusade in theaters in the 80s. Like it was so good for so many reasons. So it hit number 2. And my number 1, believe it or not, is aligned with the Game Awards where it's Astrobot. And the reason is maybe it was just because of the memories I made in September. Maybe it was just the time, what's going on, summer's over. I don't know. But playing through that game, it was just extreme delight beginning to end. Even when I was frustrated, if I put the controller down, like that level is too hard, 13 minutes was probably how long it took before I came back and restarted up that PlayStation to keep playing. It's just, especially the main levels and the PlayStation levels, collecting the bots, seeing all of the bots after. It was just like playing through that game. It brought back being, in playing. It was weird. It's like playing an N64 game, but with all of the nostalgia of the PlayStation 1 and onward. So yeah, that game ended up being my game of the year just because of I can't find a fault in it big enough to get put behind any of those other games. So yeah, it's my number one.
All right.
Awesome.
So that brings us to the end of the show. And Kaylan, you're 2 months out of practice. Can you take us home?
Absolutely. It's like riding a bike. You don't forget how to do it.
I almost thought
ladies
of turning
and
around and be like, Chris, we're back. You want to take a stab at it?
Yeah, welcome to the. Wait, no, we already are welcomed. Oh,
No, I can totally do it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is this week's episode of the Pixel Play Podcast. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting us. We're glad to be back. We missed you guys. If you guys always want to be in touch with us, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts, searching for Pixel Play Podcast. We do it with a video on Spotify and YouTube, or you can just listen to our soothing voices wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to chat with us, you want to be part of an awesome Discord group, you can find it at linktr.ee/pixelplay podcast. We've got Discord, social media that we don't use. We've basically abandoned X. I don't know what we're doing now. So yeah,
Abandon what?
Discord. We've got a fantastic group there. We really appreciate. We've been, as much as we've been off the air, we've not been off the Discord. So you can always find us there and chat, see what's going on there. But otherwise, we will see you guys next week. Bye for now.